Welcome to Money Making Conversation. As you know, I'm your host, Rashawn McDonald. I say this every episode: stop reading other people's success stories and start writing your own. We always hear about passions and gifts. If you have a gift, lead with it. Don't let your age, friends, family, or coworkers stop you from planning or living your dreams. As you know, I interview celebrities, CEOs, entrepreneurs, and people I like to call industry decision makers. My next guest is a longtime friend. Houston, Texas. That's where I'm from. That's why I met him at the Super Bowl. I didn't really meet him. I just saw him. I saw this young brother come from the back of the room performing, man, and he just took my spirit in a good way. And I've been a fan of his, and I've been blessed to have him on my show, Money Making Conversation. And his name is Lecrae. Lecrae, if you don't know, is a multi-Grammy award-winning platinum-selling artist. He has sold more than 3 million copies, and he has made history as the first artist to have a number one album on both the Billboard Top 200 and gospel album charts simultaneously. You hear me there? His first book, Unashamed, is the New York Times bestseller. In 2020, one of my favorite books. His second book, I Am Restored, is an honest book, man. How I lost my religion, but found my faith. It's a beautiful book. You should pick it up. It's available on Amazon, available in bookstores online as well. He is the co-owner, because he's an entrepreneur, co-founder and president of Atlanta-based Reach Records, with a staff of nearly 20 and a roster of over 10 artists, co-owner of the major film studio, and a partner of Atlanta-based film production, Three Strands Films. Finally, Lecrae has partnered with financial education company. Just why I love him, man. Experian for a new 6-part YouTube series, Protect the Bag. Protect the Bag. Teaching his fans and everybody, even if you're not a fan, how to establish a financial legacy. In other words, it's all about, man, closing that wealth gap that is existing between blacks and particularly whites. People of color, in particular whites. That's what this is about, and holding on and protecting the ways you can improve your credit score, which is the basis of how you can just succeed in life. The new series debated November 9th. Second series aired last Tuesday and will premiere new episodes each Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time through December 14th. Please welcome to my Money Making Conversation again, Lecrae. How you doing, Lecrae?
What's going on? Honored to be here, man. Appreciate you having me.
All the time, Lecrae. It's because we've had some dramatic good moments on the show. So this is gonna be one of the first time we're gonna be uppy, have fun. And because your books, man, are always motivating, but they're also so honest, man. Because you're so authentic, and I won't use the word deep, but you're just telling the truth. And sometimes when you tell the truth, it doesn't always have a smile on it. So
Right.
why is there so much that high level of authenticity when you're telling stories, especially the written word?
You know what it is? I think I want people to experience freedom. And sometimes, you got to show off your scars for other people to realize that healing is possible. So I want to be vulnerable so people can see, like, oh, those are some of the wrong turns you made. So I don't have to make them, and then they can make the right turns. And that's how we grow, and that's how we learn.
Well, I know that I've learned. I always tell people I wake up dumb. I tell people I wake up dumb so I can be willing to accept information. Because if you wake up thinking you know it all, then guess what? You ignore the truth a lot of ways because you feel that I got that. You've heard that phrase, I got that, or people wave you off. And that can be a mistake a lot of times because a lot of people can provide information. And you've always, through your music, been an outlet for information, whether it's on tour, whether it's in your lyrics, whether it's as a mentor. Talk about that responsibility, Lecrae, because it takes you down emotionally a little bit. Because we've been there on our interviews, how I can take you down, but that's a responsibility you're not running from.
Right. No, I mean, I just know what it's like to not have those mentors, to not have those voices to help me when I'm navigating stuff. And so if I can help people avoid those pitfalls, then I want to do it. And plus, that's just part of being a leader. That's part of, the mantle that I wear. Everybody says, well, I ain't no leader. You're a leader if you ahead of somebody. If somebody's behind you, if somebody's following you, you leading whether you want to or not. And
Right.
so somebody's always watching you, so you always leading. So it just, for me, it's like, all right, well, let me just take responsibility and just try to help people so that their ceiling, my ceiling is their floor.
Right. The interesting thing about it, when I look at Lecrae, because I'm a former entertainer, I left IBM for pursuing a career as a stand-up comedian. So I've been on stage in front of 20,000 people. I've been on stage in front of 5,000 people, 4,300 people. There's a certain rush you get when you get that. And now that he's a businessman, there's a certain rush he's getting for that. But it's not like what I saw when I saw him in Houston, Texas. That artist that captivated my spirit, and I didn't even know who you were, man. So fueling that live performance energy that you get there, and now being a business person, how you are navigating both emotions, Lecrae?
You know what it is? And I just like winning. Everybody's addicted to winning and conquering something and seeing something in front of you and, having a vision, having a dream and being able to accomplish it. I like accomplishing goals. And so when you're connecting with a person through music, you feel like you're accomplishing a goal. And at the same time, when you make a business decision or a strategy and you see it work, you feel like you're accomplishing a goal. And so that's the part that's addictive and inspiring for me.
Well, the fun part about it when people come on my show, because I do my research. People will send me a little bio over. I want to, because I think that the word people use is your flowers. Showing you your blessings, and so because a lot of times we just grind, because you're a grinder. I know that for a fact. Every time I talk to you, grinding. Like, so you grinding with Experian right now, with Protect the Bag, And then next time I talk to you, might be the third book we talking about. Might be acting in a series, because that's your MO. And that's a positive, folks. Don't get me wrong, because a lot of people say, oh, he do too much. I'm going to tell you something, man. Long as God allows you to be alive, you're supposed to do too much, because there's no time on when you might not be here. I always tell people I'm over 50. I say I'm on the downside of dying. And I tell people that, hey, bro, I ain't gonna live to, so I ain't got too many more years I can put in me. But that's an honest talk, Lecrae. Okay, and I'm not saying that as a defeatist, but the realization is I'm gonna put my time in. When I talk to Lecrae, I'm gonna put my time in talking to you. So you younger than me. Why are you putting so much time in, Lecrae?
Man, because of folks like you, the knowledge you kicking. I'm like, oh, well, shoot, that's perspective. Let me go. And then, I have been fortunate. I bought a building near downtown Atlanta, and the gentleman who sold me the property, I was like, man, why are you selling me this property at this price? Because it was a really good price for what he was selling it to me. And he said something very similar. He said, man, I'm upwards of 70 years old and I've made my money. I want to enjoy it. I'm not going to be here for another 10 years or 20 years to see this property turn over and make double what I sold it to you for. So it's no point in me holding on to it. And he said, you got time. And so maximize your time. You hold on to it, you develop it, and you got 20 years to see it come to fruition to where you can take that money and go enjoy it. And so I was like, man, that's inspiring. That's a perspective I never had. So, man, I gotta, while I'm here, let's go.
We will be right back with more money-making conversations with your host, Rushion McDonald. Welcome back to Money Making Conversations with your host, Rushion McDonald.
Well, because I bought a building here in Atlanta, just like you, and I just want to put people in perspective about that, because Lecrae because I've leased at different places. I have places at WeWorks, I've had places at Spaces, and so multiple offices. But when you tell people, just like he just said it casually, I bought a building, man, people ain't ready for that. Because people know you can buy a house. They know you can buy a car. They know you can buy an airline ticket. But when you tell people you bought a building, Lecrae, they look at you a little bit different, don't they? And that's a beautiful thing, because that's what, as minorities, as people of color, we got to have that as part of our vernacular. So it won't feel strange. It won't feel strange that, we're investing in stock. It won't feel strange that we have financial portfolios. And that leads us back to why you really came on the show today, Protect the Bag. How did you come about it? Experience, you get your credit scores there. It's a financial education company. How did you get into that whole process with Experian?
Yeah, so the backstory is that I was getting offered a lot of opportunities to be in films, and I didn't understand the film industry. So I said, let me back up. And when I learned a little bit, I said, let me start my own production company. And once I had a production company, Experian had reached out and said, hey, we'd like you to host something for us. Do you know any creative production companies that would be able to pull it off? And I said, I sure do. You know what I'm saying? I have one in mind.
Yes.
And I was like, this perfectly aligns because my production team and myself, my partner and I have been really heavy on trying to close this wealth gap. And so obviously Experian has some desires. They want to educate people on credit. And then I have some desires. I want to see, the Black community understand the power of the dollar, the power of our dollar, and how to protect it and how to, invest it. And so those things aligned, and we worked together to create something that would continue teaching people about how to invest and protect their money.
Now, and the whole thing about investing and protecting, like I said, I'm older than you, so I've spent money that I shouldn't have spent, but guess what? I had it.
Mm,
I've had an extra car I couldn't drive, but I had it. And so,
mm,
but one thing I did have, Lecrae, ever since I was 18, I understood my credit. I
mm.
protected it. I held on to it, man. I understood what a credit card meant for just somewhere in my mind, my DNA and my whole process said credit was important to me. And it's always sustained me through my whole life. It's been my badge of
Yeah.
my badge of authenticity, my badge to be able to tell you my credit score is over 800, and
Mm.
and I don't even blink now. People go, "Oh wow, you got good." Yeah, I'm 820. I average 820 on a regular basis, and so that's something I brag about. So
Yeah.
when you're trying to do protect the bag, how do people get involved with the whole process besides viewing it? Okay, because
Yeah.
we see so many commercials now about how they can raise your score real quick, but there's a process to that, and that's what the series is all
Right,
about, correct?
absolutely. Yeah, it's really beginning to take some steps, and we're giving people casual steps to take. Telling people to put their money to work for them. Treat your money like it's an employee. Also, telling people to not see credit as consumption, but see it as capital. How can your credit, like if you have a credit card or whatnot, how is that building something instead of just consuming? If you're just consuming money, it's not building your credit. If you have credit with the intention of building it so that you can do more things, that's a different mindset to have. Teaching people to pay their mortgage, twice a month, just split the mortgage payment in half. And what that does is that drives the interest down that you're ending up having to pay. And just simple principles that people can learn to help them. Teaching people to pay a little bit more on certain bills. And just helping them understand what it means to even establish credit. Because some folks don't even have credit. They think, oh, I don't want to touch it because
Right,
I don't want no credit. I don't want no problems with it. But you
right.
have to establish it in order to have good credit.
Right. Now, but let's go back a little bit because in order to have a conversation about being successful, that garners a level of respect, because you just can't just start talking about having good credit or lead
Right.
people unless you had a successful track record. I mentioned some of those things, 3 million copies, the number one artist of both from gospel and Billboard, but then to be an employer, that
Right.
responsibility, understanding
Right.
HR, understanding health plans, understanding all these little things. Let's walk through these steps because we mentioned 3 companies. I want to talk about those 3 companies because that has played a role in you being the expert voice of
Yeah.
Protect the Bag because people need to understand that because they will see you as an artist. And I think that's disrespectful in a lot of ways because, yes, your famous name got you here, but
Mm-hmm.
it's your entrepreneurial and your business acumen that is allowing
Mm-hmm.
us to listen to you take this advice. Reach
Yeah.
Reach Records. Talk about that.
Yeah. So Reach Records is an independent label. We are going on. Man, I've been doing this since I was a kid. Coming out of college, and so that's over 15 years
Mm-hmm.
of running a successful label. By God's grace, we've always been profitable, and that's just a beautiful thing. One of the things that I would say is I realized early on that I was not going to sit around and wait for somebody to embrace what I was doing. I was just going to do it myself. If nobody believed in it, then it's just let's just do it ourselves.
Right.
So I remember creating products and albums, and people were like, "Well, it's a little too street for the church, a little too church for the street.
Yeah.
There's not really a lane for you. Fine, I'll create my own lane.
Right.
And that's what we did, because I knew there were other people like me who, would have appreciated what I did. And so we've been running the label, and we made some decisions early on that really protected us and helped us. And we've grown. We were young when we started, and we've just had to grow over the years. And now, like you said, we got over 10 artists, and it's learning how to take care of them and learning how to, teach them. And I'm just trying to continue to pass that on. And then the one thing I will say is, yes, I've learned a lot. My acumen has risen, but one of the best things I've learned is to staff my weaknesses. You can't be good at everything. And so if you know you're not good at it, staff that person and put them in a position to help you achieve what you want to achieve.
Now you didn't have a name on this. You said a co-owner of a major film studio.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a name we can talk about that? Or are we going to keep that a mystery and just say you're a co-owner of a major film studio?
I mean,
you know that I was going to let that slide. Now, I got all these titles, but I get to that one, co-owner of a major film studio.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that was really just, I don't even know how to put that one to you. I guess for me,
yes, sir,
that was not my agenda. It was more so knowing the right people.
Yes, sir.
And that it put me in a unique position to be a part of an investment deal. And I said, wait a minute, is this a reality? Is this film studio, which will remain nameless? I don't want to put it out there, but there was a film studio that has produced a lot of big films, films that we all know and love. And and I had a friend who said, hey, I'm about to there's a portion of ownership that is not available right now, that's now made available. And I don't want to take it all on myself. I don't want to take all of it on. I'm giving it to you as an opportunity. And let me tell you something. I'm literally the only African-American owner within that group. And so that in and of itself is amazing to me,
Congratulations. But I had to tease you on that because I knew there was a lack of a title left for a reason, but I had to pull as much information I could get out of you. But then I want to slide over to the, when you made that bold statement to experience it, do you know a company that can produce this for us? And that's what we're about to slide right now. 3 Strands Films. That's the production company. That's your production company. Tell us about that. And how did the production actually work to produce this series for Experian called Protect the Bag? That's on YouTube.
Yeah. So 3 Strand Film, as I said before, a major director had come to me and said, I want to make a movie about your life. And I didn't know anything about what that meant. I didn't understand the points. I didn't understand the royalty system. I didn't understand the contracts. And so I had to go meet with an attorney who was in the film industry. And it was like, man, this is a lot of heavy lifting. I'm coming from the music industry, and I just don't want to be, I know how artists get taken advantage of, and I don't want to be taken advantage of in the film industry. And so the more I studied, the more I realized this might be something we can do on our own.
Right.
No one can tell our stories better than we can. And so one of my good buddies was a director, and he had been doing a lot of independent films. And I said, hey man, why don't we partner up and create, we've known each other since, our college days. Let's partner up and create a production company. And so we started small. We started producing a few music videos, and then from music videos to some small documentaries. And then that moved on to our first major project, which is a film we're working on now. But the Experian thing came across my plate, and I was like, hey, we got the capacity and the talent. Let's do it.
Right. Well, that's a beautiful thing, because of the fact that, we have to control our stories. And we're in the era now. You're in the era now with streaming outlets in the demand for content from Black people, people of color, African Americans. Now, but we're talking about protect the bag. What are your thoughts because money making conversation, that's all I talk about, trying to close that gap. I bring all type of CPAs, accountants, motivational people like you on the show. But there's a wealth disparity out there that exists along racial lines. What are your thoughts, and what is your role in trying to close that disparity?
Yeah, for me, part of it is education, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
can't close that gap without education,
Mm-hmm.
and then helping us understand the power of our dollar. So African Americans, the Black community represents $1.4 trillion in buying power.
Right.
And what that means for anybody who doesn't understand what that means we have $1.4 trillion that we can put anywhere we want. And so people are competing for our dollars,
Mm-hmm.
and we are not putting our dollars back into ourselves. We're not investing in ourselves. And so our money goes right into our pockets and into another community. And so that hinders Black businesses from thriving. That hinders our kids from having their college paid for. That hinders, us investing. Another thing is the beauty in healthcare. We represent 14% of the population, but represent 22% of beauty purchases.
Right.
But only 1% of the stock market.
Yes.
Now, how is that? That's the type of disparity that I feel like we need to have education on and begin to take some steps and some strides. A lot of people say, well, we should buy Black. Yes, but we should also invest, and we should also figure out how to do good business. And we should also, if we're going to buy Black, let's create businesses that are good businesses and have good business models and business plans and help each other through that so that this thing can be more sustainable long term.
Right now, you can catch the series Protect the Bag every Tuesday on YouTube, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all the way to December 14th. Lecrae, I know you now. It's on YouTube now. Okay? Now, we're going one day, I'll be looking at MSNBC, CNBC, Lecrae. Well, Protect the Bag, hosted by Lecrae. What's going on here, brother? There's always a starting point with you, because the starting point ain't always the finish with you.
I'm on the ride. I'm enjoying the ride, and I'm open. I'm having
always
humble.
If you want to talk, always humble. But that mind is just clicking. I'm gonna tell y'all something about Lecrae. Lecrae don't get in with the small expectation. He looks at the opportunity, and he's a visionary. And if you know a visionary always looks at the long run. That's important. If he see a penny, he's looking around where that nickel at on the ground. It's a penny. It's a nickel someplace, because that's how his mind thinks. And so, don't be shocked. So capture and watch these series, Pocket the Bag, right? Protect the Bag, right now on YouTube. It's hosted by my man Lecrae. He's been successful. He's an entrepreneur. He's a owner of a very secret but popular major film studio. That one day, you're going to pop out there, and I'm going to say, bring him back on the show. You could have told me that, big dog. Come on now. But again, Lecrae, we both in Atlanta. I'm going to drop by, man, come by my office and come by your building, man. You're a blessing, brother. And I always appreciate you taking the time to come on my show, Money Making Conversation. And by the way, I've already been in discussions with Clark Atlanta University about doing a Money Making Conversation financial summit right before taxes, April 15th. So I'll be reaching out to you, because we're on the same page, man. We're trying to change that racial gap, especially for our people. And you're one of the voices, my boy Ash Cash. I'm going to get him on board and some more people. So it is, I'm the old head, man. I want you young boys out there, man, just leading the way and allow me to just lay the foundations. Is that a deal?
That's awesome. I love that. I'm all about it.
Thank you. It's Lecrae. Protect the Bag every Tuesday on YouTube, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you want to watch it, you better start watching now, because the last episode is December 14th. But it doesn't matter if you missed anything, because the way the series works is about education and financially getting you to change your life and putting a passion of change in your heart through your pocket, and not allowing those pennies to fall out and turn those pennies into dollars, and then you invest those dollars into the stock market. Thank you, Lecrae.
Absolutely. Appreciate you.
Cool. If you want to see or hear any of my episodes of Money Making Conversations, please go to moneymakingconversation.com. I'm Rushion McDonald. I am your host. Thank you.